I know it sounds crazy, right? How one man could ruin an entire sport, especially someone as great as Steph Curry. When you actually think about it though, could his impact on the game have reached so far that it actually did hurt it? Let's find out. Steph Curry revolutionized the way teams play basketball, and players in general. He was the driving force behind the three-point era that we are currently in now. The reason I am analyzing this question on whether or not Steph Curry actually ruined basketball is because some people out there truly believe that he did, while others believe he made it better. Well, I want to share my take on this and my views on this question. I won't say that Steph necessarily ruined basketball. He definitely didn't ruin the NBA. But I believe when it comes to your average hoopers, he did ruin pickup basketball. Now, just hear me out. Anyone old enough to remember playing pickup before Steph rose to fame, you would remember big men playing like big men and players swinging the ball around and, playing more fundamental and smart basketball, just better overall. But now, I don't want to speak for everyone, but throughout my pickup basketball experience over the last, 8 to 10 years or so, everyone tries to be Steph Curry. We see Steph pulling up from 35 feet and hitting all these three-pointers, and the next thing we know, everyone wants to try it. This leads to your average player trying to replicate those things, and for the most part, it never pans out the same way. Now, big men want to be guards, point guards don't want to pass, the ball movement is dead, and the list can go on. It's pretty sad sometimes, honestly. And I'm not claiming that Steph doesn't pass the ball or move without the ball or any of that, because he is phenomenal in all aspects of that game, but as far as from what most fans see and want to replicate, it's his shooting. They go on YouTube and they watch his highlight mix and they get hyped up to go play basketball, and then next thing you know, they're shooting half-court shots and breaking it off the side of the backboard. Steph is one of the greatest players ever that any fan of the game can go and try to copy, because everyone can shoot a three-pointer, whether it's going to go in or not. But not everyone can be LeBron James and run and dunk on three defenders, or do a falling out of bounds fadeaway like Kobe, or jump from the free throw line like Michael Jordan. You get the picture. But everyone could try and shoot a deep three-pointer, or try the fancy handles. Steph, as far as a physical prowess, is much closer to your average person than many other great NBA players. That is a part of what makes him so special and what makes a lot of fans be able to relate to him. And this is what makes a lot of fans try to copy his playstyle. And playing like Steph Curry is one of the hardest things someone can do, because he's just pure skill. So for me, as far as pickup basketball, I do feel he had a big part in hurting how the game is played and how players act on the court. Everyone wants to be a shooting guard or a scoring point guard, whether they possess that skill or not. Now, as far as did he ruin the NBA? No. He just filtered out the less skillful players, if we're being completely honest. Before Steph entered the NBA, we saw many players who were really just on the court for their physical abilities. They didn't possess much offensive skill set. Their job was to help protect the paint and grab rebounds, and that was pretty much it. Now big men who can't spread the floor are becoming more and more non-existent in the world of basketball. Let's look at someone like Roy Hibbert, for example. In 2011, 2012, and 2013, 2014, he was an all-star and widely considered as one of the best centers in the league due to his ability to protect the paint and just being a big body for opposing teams to try and get around. Here are his stats in those two all-star seasons. 2011, 2012, he averaged about 13 points per game, about 9 rebounds per game, almost 2 assists per game, and 2 blocks per game. And then in his next all-star season, he averaged about 11 points per game, 6.6 rebounds per game, about an assist a game, and 2.2 blocks per game. These are solid stats, but in today's NBA, no one is calling that man an all-star. And also, he only took one three-point attempt in both of these seasons combined. Just one attempt. That is almost unheard of now in today's NBA. I mean, just comparing to some of the centers in the NBA right now, such as Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, Karl Anthony Towns, Bam Adebayo, Nikola Vucevic, Rudy Gobert, etc. And then compare them to Roy Hibbert, and they were all better than he ever was. You know, if we're speaking about someone like Rudy Gobert or Bam Adebayo, a couple players who don't really shoot threes that much, or even bring up Ben Simmons, even though he's not a center, but they don't shoot three-pointers. The thing with them is they are so defensively versatile, being able to guard 1 through 5, and they do so much more on the offensive floor, despite Rudy Gobert, who doesn't have much offensive versatility, but his defense is like almost second to none. He probably will get his 3rd Defensive Player of the Year award this year, and you know, he's going to be in the conversation as one of the greatest defensive players of all time, and we can't say the same for Roy Hibbert, who only did that for a couple seasons. Now, if we can continue on with this Roy Hibbert example, all of those centers I mentioned before are way more impactful on the court than he ever was, and just to think at one point Roy Hibbert was being argued as the best center in the NBA, that alone should just show you how far the league has come and help prove my point to how Steph's game-changing play helped filter out all of these types of players. Roy Hibbert did not fit in the new league that Steph Curry helped mold. Roy Hibbert was about 25, 27 when he was an all-star, and then just 3 short years later, he was bounced out of the league, only because he couldn't adapt to the new style of play. He was traded from the Pacers onto the Lakers, and then he spent some time in Chicago in his last game at the young age of 30. This is when players should be entering like the middle of their prime, and Hibbert was already out of the league at this point, and he had already been a non-factor the previous 2 seasons. Reasons for his huge fall off: Steph Curry revolutionized how the game is played and the rise of advanced analytics, telling us how the best shots are either a layup or a dunk or a three-pointer, and teams trying to replicate what the Warriors were doing so successfully. So to answer the question, I don't think Steph ruined basketball, but I do believe his effect on the game itself and how it is played is the greatest in NBA history. I don't think we've seen any other player come through and change how the entire sport is played. And that goes from the NBA level down to the college level, down to the high school level, and even younger. MJ had his high-flying dynamics and his relentless scoring ability, but teams couldn't try to replicate that. We see how LeBron takes over games in an all-around fashion and just dominates the stat sheet, but teams can't replicate that. We saw how Kobe was MJ reincarnated, but with a better jump shot, and teams couldn't replicate that. But none of these guys changed the entire game and flipped it on its head the way Steph Curry did. Now, depending what your view is on basketball, you may say that Steph did ruin it for you as a fan, but in all reality, Steph's game helped mold this era into a much more skilled league with positionless basketball due to how much spacing is needed now in the game. So in my opinion, Steph did ruin it for me as your average basketball player trying to enjoy some pickup ball, because now everyone is just chucking up 3-pointers. But from a fan perspective, watching the NBA, he did not ruin it. He simply made it more skilled. So that's my take on the matter. Let me know down below what you guys think. If you enjoyed, please feel free to smash that like button, drop a comment down below, and of course, subscribe for more awesome basketball content. As always, it's been your boy Jared from Hoop Network, signing off. Peace out, everybody.